It's sort of a personal learning journey for me. I was in full-time ministry for a long time, and the design of that kind of environment that I was in was particularly designed for people who are more prone to be shepherds and teachers. And so as someone who is gifted at being an apostle and being someone who is sent, I always really had this tension going on about, do I really fit here? Is there something wrong with me? And so when I discovered that there was actually some language in Scripture to define people like me, and that had my kind of vocation and my kind of bent toward things, I just thought to myself, man, I've got to learn more about this. And so as I started looking into more literature and trying to find more things to help me understand what that was about, it was really difficult to find anything of substance. And so I found a lot of really good stuff in different sociological and business world. And so really I just kind of came to the conclusion that, if I'm going to wait on someone to write something about this, I might wait for a while. And so me and Alan got together and started talking about it, and we said, you know what, why don't we just put something together that helps explain not just the apostolic person, but the fivefold ministry as a whole, and how the apostolic person and the apostolic ministry fits within that framework. And so it was extremely therapeutic to go through the process of writing it, but I learned a lot about the entire fivefold system as I went along, especially in reflecting upon my own experience.
For me, this book has been the natural end result of a life of trying to understand the nature of what I call apostolic movements, or people movements, or Jesus movements. What makes them tick, what factors come together to produce exponential, high-impact, sustainable growth that really transforms societies and civilizations. And so as I've kind of looked into that, there are many factors that come together. Well, I would articulate at least 6. But one of the key factors is a kind of influence, a kind of ministry, leadership if you will, that is evident throughout movements that go kaboom, that explode outwards. That those movements cannot be understood if you didn't have that type of ministry in it. For instance, the networking function, or the sense of convergence around key ideas and holding together around those key ideas. The church planting function, the missionary functions, these things are very, very important. So if you look at movements like that, you could say that there's never been a movement that has ever gone into exponential growth curves with high impact that didn't have a fully fledged fivefold functioning ministry, and particularly has a high reliance on the apostolic type. They just don't exist. So even though they might not have always used the term apostolic or prophetic evangelistic, you certainly don't get movements that have any lasting impact without those. So this is an attempt, for me at least, my purpose in writing is to try and elaborate on what I've tried to write on in terms of movements in other places, and particularly in my book, The Forgotten Ways. But really it's a serious elaboration on what I call apostolic environment in that book.